June the 8th, 2022. Guys, you're looking at the updated model of the Saharan Air Layer, and this goes through this Friday on the 10th. Notice that. And by that time, the section that between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula of the Northern Caribbean or Northwest Caribbean moves into the Gulf of Mexico, and that's what we're starting to see now. Again, there it stops there on the 10th, which is Friday. We're already seeing some penetration into Texas, South Louisiana, and along the Gulf Coast there. But this is going to continue to move in. Notice here as we start, it's not in the Gulf itself yet, but now it is. Also, look at the density over Haiti and the Dominican Republic and the southern tips of Cuba already. And also, and we'll switch to the Atlantic model. This is the Caribbean model. But notice that you're starting to get that northern drift of the sand. Right here is the Canary Islands. Again, we'll turn it, but that we were talking about in the last video, saying Europe would now start to get what the Middle East has been seeing for months. Storm after storm, thousands hospitalized. And this is important if you have breathing problems. But look at the southern tip of Florida into the Keys by the 10th. But you're already involved. But this, again, what has happened, the reason the Gulf Coast states here, Texas, across over to the Florida Panhandle, have been spared is because of that wind shear that pushed Tropical Storm Alex out to sea. Remember, that's what turned it into Florida. And we still have a little barrier, but the models were not updated yesterday. I was going to do a video. It was still stopping on the 9th like we had been seeing. But now they have added one more day. And let's take a look at the Atlantic model. Now, let me put this in between this just for a moment for those who have not read about the Saharan Air Layer. This is basic, but it kind of covers it. The Saharan Air Layer, also known as Saharan dust, is made of sand, dirt, and other dust that is lifted into the atmosphere from the vast desert area that covers most of North Africa. This dust is carried in the African waves, which push westward into the Atlantic Ocean. The Saharan Air Layer is a well-mixed dry pocket of air that usually resides between 5,000 and 15,000 feet above sea level. Since one of the key ingredients for tropical cyclone development is a deep feed of moisture, Saharan dust often acts to inhibit tropical development. We talked about that. Once a pocket of Saharan dust begins moving westward over the Atlantic, it is relatively easy to track using infrared satellite products. This model combines the forecasted development and movement to the Saharan Air Layer with the GFS precipitation, which is the global forecast system, guys, at rate and pressure contours to depict the movement of the layer, just like when we're watching high and low pressure during the hurricane season. Again, Atlantic view, but same timestamp. Notice in Dakar, Africa, how thick it is there, and coming right behind this, it looks like we're going to get a small break, probably because of the air currents and the pressure, but that's forcing this to drift north. The gap that you're seeing here that's not going to be pushed into the Atlantic is being pushed north, and you can see it's across the Straits of Gibraltar here, going into southwest Europe already. And it's just thicker than it's normally been. Again, I've seen some scenes from Iraq and those areas where it's just like an orange fog, even at ground layer. And again, thousands have been hospitalized. And so we just got to pay attention. When you're dealing with a dust layer on the desert, there, as the sun bakes it with weak shields, this forces more dust into the air. It's drier. That's why you get dust storms in the U.S. Southwest and across the Midwest. But then this goes aloft, right? But what is happening, not only does it inhibit tropical development, but it reflects a lot of sunshine back up into the upper atmosphere, creating somewhat of a cooling effect. You know, and I've always wondered if certain people wanted to put aerosol into the atmosphere, could be a good way to do it. Just saying. Now here you can see on the wide Atlantic satellite images the dust. It's coming off of Africa here. As the sun moves across it, look how thick it is coming across the Leeward and Windward Islands here. Some is being pulled up into the North Atlantic, from the same front that moved Tropical Storm Alex out into the Atlantic itself. Notice your waters in the Gulf are still blue. That means clear skies from this satellite viewpoint. But it's starting to move in. So again, the final, I guess the last word on this that I want to say is be prepared for this. If you're going to be working in Florida along the Gulf Coast, and in Cuba, in Haiti, Dominican Republic, on the Leeward Islands, tips of South America, be aware of what's coming. Usually it'll catch you off guard. You'll notice your eyes start to burn, your throat a little raspy, and the yellowish tint to the sun. It's a little more yellow, a little more orange, like if you were under a wildfire. But this is what I wanted to talk about. And one more thing quickly. We are going to be dealing with a severe heat wave in the U.S. Southwest. Now, in these shades right here, this dark pink, it says excessive heat warnings. Now, you've got heat warnings, you've got other problems, but this is excessive. They're talking about temperatures in some areas up to 117 degrees. Phoenix, Las Vegas, California. Check this out. Excessive heat warnings. You're going to have to be very careful. I've been to Phoenix in the summer, and it can be brutal, but it's still not as hot as it's going to get. Notice also Texas heat advisories in here. You've got severe thunderstorm warnings. You've got severe thunderstorm watches. Got some flooding going on here. So this moisture is needed in a lot of areas. You've got some storms over into Alabama. But these heat warnings are going to be a very large problem. A lot of people work outside. I've got kids and grandkids in Phoenix. And my son, he works outside there all day. And you're going to have to watch it. You've got people all across the desert that are moving back and forth, as we know. And that's going to be a big problem there also. So just be careful. If you've ever had a heat stroke, you never fully recover, and it can affect the rest of your life as far as when you have to get into the heat. It's not a very nice feeling at all. But guys, we're watching this. There's a lot going on. We had elections across many of the states yesterday. And let me say this for, I think it was San Francisco, you now have a new district attorney. The Soros-appointed paid guy that was letting everybody go got recalled yesterday. But you got a new one. And this one is supposed to be a little more conservative, not going to let every killer and rapist out on the streets, things like that. We'll see if it, and there was races across many states that happened yesterday. And I do see a shift from blue to red. We'll see how it goes, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.